Yes, I've neglected to give you a bit of a travel log on the way across. We've had such a torrid time, really, of sorting out bookings and flights and everything else. I'll make some various little videos as short as possibly can from start to finish, and we'll start back in England. And I've got to say that the times I've had to try and get me and this chair abroad has paid off the scale of. I'll try and explain the reasons why for all my disabled audience. The hassle in trying to get it was just off the scale of none of the companies, travel companies, will deal with it, full stop, basically. So I had to go to the source, basically the source of everything I did, which when you're dealing with people from England to people that are abroad, it adds another dimension. I will try and work through it all. It's been such hard work. I really did find that the soon it was mentioned, disability was one thing. When you make the next part of saying you're going solo, is another little problem on the way. And then when you mentioned that it's not just a simple little fold-away chair, it's just a little bit different to what most people use, as in a sports chair or something. Oh, the problems this involves. Oh, you have to have a drawing of it. I had to have it weight of the thing, which I gave them the dimensions going through it, and of course I couldn't give them a maker's what make it was, because it's a totally custom hand-built chair. The makers of the chair, most of it is down to well, draft, you could say. And you could say that JD Engineering at Whitby. You could say that a little bit of it has come from Cornwall, as in Elliot Simpson, who was the engineer. But trying to get people to understand it is crazy. It's an obstacle. And I've got to say, I found two lasses at Hayes Travel, and I've got to give them a mention. Hayes Travel in Middlesbrough, who sat with me for 2 days. They shook their heads, they laughed with all the stupid questions. I don't know how they stuck it out, but absolute stars. And Hayes Travel in the end was the one that really got it together. Most of the ones didn't even want to touch it. So that's my first part of a little bit of hassle as a, well, let's call it, well, I mean, I don't consider myself to have a disability. I have no legs. It's a mere scratch. It's a mere scratch. A flesh wound. I don't consider that anything shouldn't be a problem to me. And when people put problems in front of me, I get a bit touchy, should we say. But anyway, that was my first little part of the thing. But we got there. And the most ludicrous thing about it was, when I did get there, and I wasn't using British companies and Britishes, and when I actually did get to talk to people that really mattered, believe it or believe it not, the price of the tickets was crazy. What was £600 now becomes a flight that's only just short of £200. How did that happen? The trains. I warned so much about the trains. The trains were absolutely rubbish in England. As soon as you get out of the country, they're absolutely fantastic. So my first part of my travels was absolutely horrendous, to be honest. The actual trip from Whitby wasn't that bad. I started off good, plenty of time, because as a disabled person, you know everything's going to take longer, and it does. by some considerable margin. So I set off in good time. Basically the day before I started travelling through England. So on the 5th I set off, crossing from Whitby then to Manchester. By the way, the tickets for the train, all that distance, were £19. And then from there got to the airport and stayed in the airport overnight basically until my flight in the morning. Another little tip, Manchester Airport have taken out all the seating. So if you're hoping to just get your head down and out of these chairs for a little while, because as we know, after being sat in one of these things all day long, it's a bit like rigor mortis setting in. It takes about 20 minutes before your legs will bend straight. Anyway, chairs have gone. So it's on the floor, that's a bit good as it gets. Get out the chair, lay on the floor, give yourself a bit of a break from it, give yourself a bit of a break from the train. You can get food all night long. The most horrendous Wi-Fi I've ever come across in the airport. There may be a reason, it might be to do with planes, no idea. But that's that. Anyway, then the next issue was that this on the English side was the booking was slightly wrong. They weren't happy about that. Somebody put it in wrong. Well, one little interesting thing. After explaining to the company, in one of the companies in Whitby, about my being a bilateral amputee, they rang up one of the airlines, and the airline people asked the question, believe it or believe it not. They asked what my disability was, so I said that I was a bilateral amputee. And, oh yes, all right, okay. Now we'll get you your wheelchair, we'll drop you off on the plane, and then can you walk to your seat? Even the lasses at A's just laughed their heads up on that one. But I suppose that's what it comes down to. Anyway, at that point, I am going to call it part 1 of the travelogue, and we'll give it a rest.